Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out Louis Theroux, a confusing genius.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace. When you think of a TV presenter, you probably picture some kind of slick Rick. A very charismatic, high energy, extrovert. But Louis Theroux is none of those things.
Theroux?
Every move I know, I've been practicing, I've been trying really hard.
His films would explore the dark, gritty underworld of humanity.
What did you stab him with?
Ice pick.
Despite the success and praise he's received, his style has been very controversial since the beginning.
I had to take account of myself and how it was that I had not managed to show more of him.
Louis Theroux had a very unique set of circumstances.
Okay, hang on. Whoa. I think this is how I've heard of Louis Theroux. Is it Theroux or Theroux? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's know him as Louis. He reminds me of Mo Rocca. You know who that is? He used to do stuff on The Daily Show, and now he's on CBS Sunday mornings, I think. See? Looks the same. He's the American Louis Theroux. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Nearly identical. And he's also a interviewer type dude. Know what I mean? Ah, what does this mean? Louis Theroux. It is Theroux. Okay, let me just check.
Louis Theroux.
Louis Theroux. No, it's Louis Theroux.
Louis Theroux.
We'll assume that's correct. He went to Oxford. He moved to the United States and worked as a journalist for Metro Silicon Valley and Spy. He moved into television as the presenter of offbeat segments on Michael Moore's TV Nation series. Never heard of that. I like Michael Moore. I'd probably watch that. He's known for his documentaries on the BBC. He was born in Singapore, the son of English mother Anne and American father Paul Theroux, a noted travel writer and novelist. Hang on, what? He holds dual British and American citizenship. Yeah! He's the nephew of novelist Alexander Theroux and writer Peter Theroux. His older brother Marcel is a writer and television presenter. His cousin Justin is an actor and screenwriter. Justin Theroux is his cousin? Wow, what a family. It's not fair. Maybe I hate him. Maybe I envy him. Maybe I'm jealous. Wow, amazing. He moved to England when he was 1 year old and was raised in Catford area of South London. Say it with me, y'all. Show me on a Catford. Oh, I liked the microphone. It's in London, apparently. Oh, that's a gerrymandered district. Where are we here? Where are we? Let's zoom out. Oh, Southeast London. Well, let's check out some photos. Flowers. Flowers. Kudzu? Flowers. Flowers. A tower. Flower. 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 Why? This is a beautiful area. Architecture. Oh. Huh. An assassin. Flowers. Ducks. That's a lot of ducks. You know what that means. A duck train car with the license plate FCO2ETL. Dreams. Architecture. Roundabout. Row houses. Gas. Petrol. The factory. Anyway, that's where Louis Theroux grew up. I can't believe his family. Like, no wonder he's... Early career. Hang on. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of the video. He seems pretty fascinating, though. And genetically equipped for success. I'm jealous.
I had to take account of myself and how it was that I had not managed to show more of him.
Louis Theroux had a very unique set of circumstances that made him the person he is today. He was born in Singapore to his parents, Paul and Anne Theroux. His dad, Paul, was a very famous writer who would write about his travels, and he was from America. And his mum was English and worked as a BBC radio producer.
And so growing up, I was conscious of them as people who really encouraged us to open our minds. And maybe it was sort of 99% positive, like 1%. I think, like a lot of people, people use this term social justice warriors, right? As a form of judgment about overly do-gooding.
Yeah, I'm fucking better than you.
okay? Much better than you. You are garbage.
Sometimes that can be inflected with a little bit of a sense of superiority. It's like feeling that we weren't really quite like other people. You know, I strive not to endorse, but whatever is in me remains in me of that. I try to unpack and eradicate.
Louis was very bright in school. He was very academic. He graduated from the prestigious Oxford University and ended up landing his first job as a journalist, writing for Metro Silicon Valley and then another paper called Spy. And so Louis was kind of exploring different options of where he wanted to take his life. But then everything would change when he would meet one man in particular, Michael Moore.
Well, thanks very much for coming in. You want to respond?
Well, first of all,
you want to respond to anything we just heard?
Yeah, I'd like about 10 minutes to respond to.
Give us a couple headlines. What would you like to say?
Michael Moore is a very controversial character. He's a world-renowned documentarian and is kind of known for his very brash, confrontational demeanor. You know, he was loud, he was in your face, he had an opinion, he made you aware of it. He was everything that Louis Theroux isn't.
Challenge you to come down and format a computer desk.
But what exactly did Philip Morris die from?
And so in 1994...
Yeah, Michael Moore, he's a shit starter. I remember a documentary he did called Roger and Me. There's a car company in the town he grew up in, and then they shut down a factory. I almost typed Roger Moore instead of Michael Moore. What was that, Roger and Me? Oh, Bowling for Columbine. Yes. Yeah, Roger and Me. In 1989, Roger and Me was Moore's first documentary about what happened in Flint, Michigan. They've had problems. General Motors closed its factories and opened new ones in Mexico where the workers were paid lower wages than their American counterparts. The Roger referred to in the title is Roger B. Smith, then CEO and president of General Motors. Yeah, Bowling for Columbine was huge. Fahrenheit 9/11, right? That's the one. Sicko. I've not seen Sicko, but I should probably watch that. Free Luigi. I've not seen any of these. Where to invade next? I've not seen. Oh, Fahrenheit 11/9. I've got to catch up. Okay. Back to the video.
But what exactly did Philip Morris die from?
And so in 1994, Michael Moore would have a show on NBC. It was called TV Nation. It would explore different political and social issues in a kind of fun, interesting way. And it would have many different segments. But because BBC had funded part of this show, they had requested that one of the presenters was British. And so in steps your boy Louis.
Welcome back to TV Nation. We're standing here on the fabled Madison Avenue with our correspondent Louis Theroux. Louis, the street is the home of America's PR geniuses and image makers.
And who better for an image makeover, I was thinking, than the Ku Klux Klan?
Straight out the gate, Louis gets stuck into a pretty controversial topic of the KKK. The story was basically about how the KKK was trying to remarket itself to be a bit more friendly, which is a pretty big task, something that I don't think Don Draper could pull off.
White people are my family. I love them, but it doesn't mean I hate anyone else. I mean, hating people is stupid.
Right. It's just a question of loving some less than others.
His style was very interesting. He would go in with this very easygoing demeanor.
Will the skinhead in the crowd please leave immediately?
He would joke around with them. He was a little bit cheeky. He had a very subtle, sarcastic sense of humor that would often go over their heads. But his style allowed him to ask very hard-hitting questions, the type of questions Michael Moore might ask. But instead of doing it in a very clearly confrontational way, he had this childlike innocence, this genuine intrigue into the people he spoke with.
And it's craftsmanship with a capital K.
With a K.
Now, why is he sticking his arm in the air like that?
It is a salute. You know, a lot of times the media they'll think that it's a Nazi salute. Okay,
Look, it does. It looks a little bit like a Nazi salute.
Yeah. BBC, after seeing TV Nation, approached Louis with an offer for his very own TV show, which would become the groundbreaking Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends.
Awesome.
BBC, slightly behind Michael Moore's back, had approached me and said, "Here, why don't you come and make a show on your own?" Michael was a bit upset about.
Is that fiction that still exists?
No, we deaded that beef.
Good.
In 1998, Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends would be released.
My money doesn't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I wanna see you wiggle wiggle, for sure.
With the very first episode being a deep dive into the world of televangelism.
In Great Britain, the people don't have Christian TV stations like this, do they?
Not as far as I know. I mean, maybe there are some I don't know about. Yeah, not much. So they need people like Marcus and Joni to go over there and, they're thirsting for it.
So we are really blessed in America.
My TV Nation segments involve me making fun of people, more or less. And in Weird Weekends, I sort of said, you know what, we need to expand the emotional palette a bit, and it can't just be me. We've got to actually have some other moods in here and get to know people and like people.
Thanks, Anne-Lee.
Nice.
Love you.
Love you too.
Angels on your body.
Angels on your body.
Angels on your
Before we go
body.
any further with this video, I want to give a massive shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring.
Y'all be sure to go to Squarespace and buy stuff. Make a website. Squarespace, call me. Guess me your next project.
Anyway, back to the video.
It's nice to be here today with you, my friend.
And so Louis Theroux gets stuck in. He enters this world, and what's interesting to see is, despite the fact that Louis is an atheist, and that he made it very clear to the people he was with that he's atheist, it would have been quite tempting and easy for him to just go in and be very adversarial.
Even though I didn't believe, I wanted to please Anne Lee so much that a few words spilled out.
Thank you, Jesus, for saving me.
And he seemed to genuinely attempt to try and connect with their religion.
What did he say?
Though I didn't believe, I wanted to please Anne Lee so much that a few words spilled out.
Thank you, Jesus, for saving me.
And he seemed to genuinely attempt to try and connect with their religion. He would sing, say some prayers, etc. And ultimately gave this very honest and humble look into their world.
I love that. I love that. That's the way to do it. I mean, that is genius. Go in, blank slate, be cool, show me what you got, and then I'll judge you. I like this. Oh, someone's being healed by Jesus.
Ultimately gave this very honest and humble look into their world.
Oh, the Holy Ghost.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's wonderful. That's where you really want to be. Yeah.
I can't explain how
okay?
iconic Weird Weekends was. From UFO fanatics to black nationalists to South African apartheid deniers, he gave a very honest look into what were often these very tough topics.
Eddie,
Yes,
if
sir.
you by your own assessment are a racist, right?
Yes,
Then
I
what
am.
are you doing here breaking bread with black people?
Because I am.
The people he would interview would completely open up to him, allowing him to really get into their heads and understand their ideology.
I'm not a wealthy man, but you know what? I've got it all in here. It's not what you have, it's what you are. Get in that tattoo. Yes.
Showing the viewer not only what that person thought, but why they thought it. So the question here really is, why is Louis' style so effective?
What did you do to him exactly?
Shambok.
You shambocked him.
Yeah.
Did you shambok him yourself?
No, the guys are I'm not allowed to do it anymore.
Why?
I'm on suspended for 5 years.
I think the best way of me explaining this is by...
What is shambok? I gotta look that up. Shambok? Am I allowed to say that? Shambok, or latupa, is a heavy leather whip. It is traditionally made from adult hippopotamus or rhinoceros hide, but is also commonly made out of plastic. A strip of the animal's hide, blah, 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 blah. A plastic version was made for the apartheid-era South African police and used for riot control. A short sword-like whip made from rhino pizzle. That's a penis. That's a rhinoceros penis. Oh, they use it to drive cattle. I have seen that, like a stick that they use. Used by police. Wow. Okay. He's on suspension now. Okay.
Shamboked him. Did you shambok him yourself?
No, the guys are I'm not allowed to do it anymore.
Why?
I'm on suspended for 5 years.
I think the best way of me explaining this is by showing two different approaches to the same topic. So let's start off with Michael Moore with an interview with Fred Phelps. Now, Fred Phelps was the head of the very controversial Westboro Baptist Church. They were known for picketing dead soldiers' funerals, being extremely against gay people, and they were known as the most hated family in America.
He's in hell now. That's what needs to be preached. You're like dogs eating your own vomit. Wake up.
Dogs eating their own vomit.
Yeah,
but they do that. I mean, my dog eats his own vomit.
Fred knew a lot about dog vomit, and I wanted to hear more. But I thought it was about time Fred met my friends on the Sodomobile.
This is our Sodomobile. They'd like you to come on.
Reverend Fred was outnumbered.
So what did we learn from this interview? That Fred Phelps hates gay people? The thing is, we knew that already. We haven't learned anything new here. Michael Moore really achieves nothing in this interview other than dunking on the guy's ideology. Now, let's look at Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux also met the Westboro Baptist Church.
We started picketing when I was...
I have to say, whoever's making their signs is a really great graphics designer. I don't like what the signs say, but the font and the background is very, very stylized and eye-catching, and it makes me want to collect them. They're like Hot Wheels cars or Boss guitar pedals. Look at this. This one even has his face on there. Wow. And he's just standing right next to them. I love that about him. Louis Theroux.
Other than dunking on the guy's ideology. Now, let's look at Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux also met the Westboro Baptist Church.
We started picketing when I was first grade.
6 years old.
So people have been treating me the way that you see us being treated now since I was that young. So, I mean, people didn't treat me right.
What did they do?
Well, nobody wanted to talk to me really at school. And they were ashamed to be around me.
You know that sense of being ostracized. If you preach that the world is hateful and full of condemned sinners, then the world will start to take that shape.
Well,
for a very brief moment, we get to see a glimpse of the humanity in this woman.
Thank you, Louis Theroux. He's very insightful. That was very wise. I want to hear him say it again.
If you preach that the world is hateful and full of condemned sinners, then the world will start to take that shape.
Well,
for a very brief moment, we get to see a glimpse of the humanity in this woman. A snapshot of her psychology and how she has become radicalized.
Yeah.
The reason that Louis was able to pull this off was because he spent so much time with the Westboro Baptist Church and had very delicately gained their trust. In fact, he's gained so much trust from them that he's able to ask very hard confrontational questions, but he does so in a way that the interviewee doesn't storm off angrily.
Wouldn't you like the Gestapo now? You like interject. Your role is interject the doctrinal hard line.
Louis is very aware of what he's doing and why his style works. He did an interview with the BBC where he said a big part of the job is building rapport. It doesn't always happen the way you want, but what you find is if you go in with a sympathetic presence, or at least listening and paying attention, people for the most part are happy to open up and feel grateful for you being there. On top of
Y'all, I'm about to cry. That's beautiful. That's so brilliant. Wow. If you go in as a sympathetic presence, or at least listening and paying attention, people for the most part are happy to open up and feel grateful for you being there. Wow. That makes me want to interview Nazis and stuff. Makes me want to be a journalist. That's inspiring. Wow.
People, for the most part, are happy to open up and feel grateful for you being there. On top of this, another part of Louis' demeanor is he comes across maybe a bit dumb.
Someone snitched on you or one of your friends, what would you do?
What type of question is that? No comment.
He's not exactly threatening. He is very disarming. And so because he's so harmless, people's guard drops when they're around him. But he was never a pushover. He just dealt with confrontation a bit different. If someone said something he didn't like, instead of saying you're a bad person for thinking this way, he would kind of flip it on them in a way that would get their humanity to come out. He would say how their opinion makes him feel.
Anyone except for fucking bigots.
I'm sorry that you were raised for the devil. To me, as an outsider, it's mildly upsetting to see someone get upset.
And he would actually get involved in their activities. He might attend some events, he might help them construct some things. He doesn't act as this standoffish documentarian, but
he's helping this woman put on a jacket before she goes and protests homosexuals and black people. Whatever she's about to do.
He might help them construct some things. He doesn't act as this standoffish documentarian, but he becomes part of the story. On top of his series that explored wacky subcultures, he also did these kind of diaries of very famous people, such as Chris Eubank, Paul and Debbie, and it would be around this sort of time from the early 2000s to the mid 2000s where Louis himself would become a bit of a celebrity. But it would also be around this time where Louis would make one of the biggest mistakes of his entire career.
No, What's it gonna be? I'm a big fan of him already. This video's not even 12 minutes through, and I love Louis Theroux. The video's not through. Get it? That was so dumb. Anyway, I'm about to mentally prepare for his downfall, or cancellation, or whatever's about to happen.
A profile that I'd made of an eccentric aging celebrity who appeared to have secrets, but undefined secrets, had become the most in-depth TV portrait of Britain's most notorious offender.
In this now erased documentary, it's pretty hard to find. BBC tried everything they could to scrub it. Louis Theroux met the now disgraced BBC presenter called Jimmy Savile.
Did you argue much when you were living together?
Never.
Never?
And in this documentary, it was clear that Louis had become friends with Jimmy Savile. There was something in Jimmy he liked. After the passing of Jimmy Savile, when all the crimes came out and everyone found out what had happened, Louis made a follow-up to his Jimmy Savile video where he went back over the story and reviewed how he missed the obvious. How everyone did, and how he humanized Jimmy and kind of made him look good. And this leads us onto the main critique that Louis Theroux receives.
How would he know? How is he supposed to know? Like, if people are coming down on Louis Theroux for being his buddy, what about all of Jimmy's other friends, right? Or people who worked with him, who were friendly with him and didn't realize what was going on, right? Let's see what happened.
And that is that Louis Theroux gets accused...
I gotta read some of these. Got zero interest in Louis Theroux platforming... Oh. Well... Okay. Louis Theroux says platforming extremists in new BBC docuseries cultivates empathy. Yeah. The documentary maker says people have a choice to be curious about hateful phenomena. Yeah, just 'cause... Yeah, I'm still on Louis' side. Couldn't finish the first episode of the new Louis Theroux. Feels like a totally unneeded and unnecessary platforming of guys I'd never heard of. Sunlight wasn't the best disinfectant for Jimmy Savile, or Joe Exotic, or ultra-Zionist settlers, or neo-Nazis, or anyone else. This guy doesn't get it. Louis Theroux wrestled with platforming harmful voices in Forbidden America. On the one hand, platforming racists and conspiracy theorists is bad for society, but on the other hand, it can be good for Louis Theroux's career. So, swings and roundabouts. Oh, come on. Even these people who have done horrible things, racists and whatever you would call Jimmy Savile, that I don't want to say on YouTube, like, they're still human beings. They're our brothers and sisters. Let's understand why they did these things and made these bad choices. Let's understand them and learn from it, and maybe we can circumvent these things earlier, or people who might be considering making these bad choices would say, oh, no, maybe not, right? Let's don't totally shut them out of society. I just think if you don't make an effort to understand where the person's coming from, then you're just going to have more of it. Plus, we're all human beings. We all deserve forgiveness and second chances. Here come the comments. I'm going to stop talking. I'm not defending Jimmy Savile or whoever he's talking about. I'm defending Louis. I'm on Louis' side.
Dangerous, radical, extreme people. And over the last 6 to 7 years, there's been a growing concern over whether it's responsible for a filmmaker to host people who have very extreme ideas or have done crimes, for the fear that it might spread them and it might legitimize them. It's definitely a fair critique to make, a fair question to ask, but I would argue that Louis' style actually does the opposite.
Yes. Just killed Christ. You're going to try to say they worship the same God as I worship? It killed Christ.
Newsflash, Brainiac, Christ was Jewish.
His jokey and rapport-building style actually...
I didn't expect him to sarcastically call the guy a brainiac. But I appreciate it. That's funny. Newsflash, Brainiac.
Say they worship the same God as I worship. It killed Christ.
Newsflash, Brainiac, Christ was Jewish.
His jokey and rapport-building style actually allows him to ask better quality confrontational questions that, if done in any other way, would typically lead to the person being interviewed getting angry and storming off.
Yeah,
Instead, what we get is an honest response, and often you can kind of see their ideology unraveling, whilst all along still managing to recognize the humanity in that person and the circumstances that led them to believing the things they do. However, as time has passed, culture has changed a lot.
We're less tolerant than ever.
And I'm going to give my personal opinion here, but I feel like you can see that this criticism has started to get to Louis Theroux a little bit. If we take a look at his newest series that came out very recently called Forbidden America, there's an episode in that called Extreme and Online. It's all about the rise of very far-right, racial, identitarian kind of movements.
So-called dissident right, whatever you want to call that thing that you were part of, that used to be called white nationalism, but I guess that's not a term that's in favor anymore.
We take that and then contrast it with the 2003 video he did called Louis and the Nazis.
So if I told you I was Jewish, would that create a problem between us?
Well, because you got the camera right now, I'd allow you to stay. If not, I'd probably kick your ass and put you in the street somewhere.
If you watch these two documentaries back to back, I think it's clear that the one in 2003 was better. You get a much better understanding and kind of like this look under the hood, so to speak, of these Nazis. Whereas the newest one felt very surface level.
And you did a Nazi salute.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
You're at an event whose entire kind of raison d'etre really is to say, hey, you know what? We're not the alt-right. You had one job and you failed.
I did not do a Nazi salute.
It didn't feel like he was successful in penetrating deeper into their minds, or seeing the reasons and causes of what is attracting young people to this movement. There was something different in Louis' demeanor from that of the one in 2003.
So he's... Jimmy the Giant is saying that Louis took in that criticism of him platforming these people, and so he's trying to be more confrontational. Okay. He must have felt a lot of pressure from people.
This movement. There was something different in Louis' demeanor from that of the one in 2003.
You're seething now.
No, you're
seething. Like you're about to start crying.
You're the one that's
Why
crying.
are you so triggered? Come on, man.
And I'm not the only person who noticed that Louis' tone was very different. There was an article from The Telegraph. The weariness is showing. You can hear it in his voiceover, which sounds positively depressed. And you can see it in the fact that he no longer hangs back and lets people dig their own graves. Instead, he's a bit more confrontational, a little less patient.
Look like get the fuck out of my house. Are you kidding me?
When did you lose your sense of humor?
And it's a shame, really, because I don't think it actually achieves much. I think it does the opposite. My same critique earlier of Michael Moore would apply to Louis in this situation. And look, I'm not Louis Theroux. I don't know why this was the case. I can only make my guess. The BBC probably puts a lot of pressure on him to not show these people in a good light in any way, because obviously they would get a lot of Twitter and media backlash if they do. I think...
Oh my god, yeah. Louis Theroux has an abysmal track record with... Now he's working on a BBC expose on the adult industry timed with a current all-hands-on-deck war on adult content in the UK. The BBC keeps platforming religious groups advocating for the eradication of
media backlash if they do. I think all of this, coupled with the fact that when he went to revisit the Westboro Baptist Church, he had met a British fella there that had joined the church because of one of Louis' documentaries and other documentaries on that topic. And Louis speaks in interviews how he often battles with the whole amplification of extreme voices. With much more effort, he could have exposed the roots of where this modern race realist ideology is coming from, what causes people to fall into that rabbit hole, and he could have dismantled the ideas properly like he did in the 2003 one.
If it is someone like, say, a neo-Nazi or someone involved in religious intolerance, I'm just so curious about what takes someone to that place, what's in their mind, that to actually berate them, to give them a hard time, or even be particularly journalistically confrontational. That's not my default mode.
And look, I say all of this because I adore Louis Theroux. That's the only reason I'm making that critique. He certainly hasn't fallen off in any way. He still makes great content. But Louis' bread and butter is empathy and his style. And I think now more than ever, it's very important to have him do that.
You'd see me and presumably you would know that I was not cut out to fight. And you're seriously saying
I ain't gonna lie, you might not
be
be fight. They might just slap the shit out you.
Would you be helping?
Nah, I might feel sorry for you since I know you're a good man. I might tell them to fall back, but you going to have to get 1 or 2 rounds in, you feel me?
Louis' incredible work has allowed us to better understand the human condition and its many weird, scary, and wonderful expressions. So here's to Louis. May he continue to explore his genuine curiosity of the world in whatever way that he desires. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and watch this video right here.
Y'all be sure to go to Jimmy the Giant, like and subscribe. What is Louis Theroux up to these days? How old is this video? This video is 1 year old. Let's scroll down on the bottom, y'all. Okay. I still like him, y'all. I'm still on his side. He has a podcast on Spotify called the Louis Theroux Podcast. Not a very creative name, but it does the job. He makes appearances on The Adam and Joe Show. He agreed to film a cameo in the 1997 gay film Take a Peek. He did not perform acts in the film, but made a brief appearance as a park ranger in search of a criminal. Sonny, he has a fear of flying. He suffers from alopecia? Didn't look like it. He's a supporter of West London football club Queen's Park Rangers. He's won some awards. Let's check his IMDb. Does he have IMDb? Boy bands forever. Jamali Maddox, Follow the Leader. Louis Theroux interviews. Lockerbie, Tell Them You Love Me. KSI in Real Life. Joe Wicks, Facing My Child. Yeah, he's still doing it, y'all. He's still doing it. Way to go, Louis. Mr. Theroux. I gotta check out some of these interviews. They're fascinating, and I do like his style. Especially the non-confrontational way he does stuff. I love that. It's really inspiring. Yeah, I feel like society is less tolerant now than it's ever, well, I can't say ever, but we're not very tolerant, are we? Let's be more tolerant. People who profess tolerance are oftentimes intolerant of intolerance, right? You know what I mean? Like, they don't see that they're being intolerant of intolerance. They don't get it. They don't see it. You know what I mean. You're smart people. Well, y'all, if you made it this far in the video, maybe give me a like and subscribe. Maybe pick up a mug. I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.